ever had any phone calls or sensations that you wouldn't consider normal? Like not dizzy spells, but just something like ESP things or seeing little men in black running around and knocking on your door?
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
There's something else I want to bring up.
Okay. You're gonna get into it.
Now, the next day or two after the incident, I head back. It's 14 minutes late. And someone noticed that when I got to the sheriff's office at 5 in the morning to make a statement. So I left my room. Sometime there the next day or two, I understand, somebody went up, took to look at the police car, and lo and behold, the dash clock here was 14 minutes late to the minute. Corresponded exactly to my wristwatch. And I can't explain it. There's 14 minutes time line.
854 feet sounds like you were going 600 miles an hour or something like that. One other thing is when you think of Calvin Parker and these other people, all these abduction cases, and I don't want to think that you're an abductor, but there's always the possibility. Who's to say that you weren't abducted, just like these Close Encounters movies show? Your mind was probably brainwashed after, this is pure speculation, and then all of a sudden, these little white men didn't know exactly the spot, or they just said your car was teleported, like they sometimes say there's this levitation takes place, and then you're in the side, somebody drives the car, jams on the brake, makes it look like you're like that in that configuration at an angle across the highway, only because there's 39 minutes.
39 minutes here.
39 minutes there, right. But 14 on the watch. Well, you might have been somewhere else for 14 minutes.
I don't know. Like I said, there's almost 40 minutes of my life I can't account for.
I have a question now. This is a map of the area. Now, I don't know if you can tell. There's I don't know what town that is, but there's Stephen. I assume this is the 75, not the 59. This is the 72.
No, that's
75. That's 220.
Okay, and there's Oswald. And there's the road, the graphic. Before the road?
Yeah, north of 317.
Okay.
North of that.
That little thing there says that there's a radio tower. Did you also see the radio tower? Past this one, like this is on the corner where you turn. Someone out here is another tower somewhere. Maybe
You're halfway between here and Steve.
Okay.
You go much brighter. Much brighter. It's the brightest thing I've ever seen. I was in the Navy. For quite a while we had those big carbonary searchlights. And this is fully as bright and brighter than one of those.
So there was a hole from when it looked about a foot in diameter to when it got to your car. Like less than a second. It looked.
Where I kept it in sight all this time.
How far from that corner down to the trees?
2 3/4 miles. 2.58.
Okay, I would like to know, before the incident, were you have ever read any stories on UFOs, and after the incident, have you are you have any interest at all after that incident taking place?
Prior to this incident, I have about a 2-week attention span, and I was going to kick to read books on any subject for 2 weeks. And one of them was UFOs. I also read about the Russian criminal justice system and so forth and so on.
So you don't really have any.
So I have no real burning desire, right, prior to this incident. Since that time, numerous people have said you've just got to go see Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I don't have the money or the time off of the evenings to go. But someone left me a book and I did read it.
But that's still, you haven't read any magazines started being made.
Nothing that that I've gone out and bought. Everything that's been
Thrown at you.
thrown at me. I'll read it.
Was there any damage to the radio itself?
Well,
To the electronics on the...
okay, I have a CB radio. This antenna back here was from my CB. My
That's your own
CB
personal one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The CB has never really worked quite right since, I have to admit. The police radio, as far as I know, was working when I called for assistance at 2:19 a.m. One thing I can tell you, there was practically a new battery in this area of the vehicle.
That's for the CB, you mean?
No, this is to start the car.
Okay, yeah.
12 volts, started so. Not able to charge any longer. Charged it up, they charged it up, they started it up, they've driven it out, they went idle, they shut it off, they'll try to turn it, you won't hold the charge.
Has anybody tried to duplicate that either by, say, by shorting the battery or something like that?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Well, when you keep to your headlights were on, was the battery still working? What?
When you were making your statement there, you said the one thing I can tell you. Are you holding something back then? Does that mean that there's something you're not allowed to tell us that's,
No, just a figure of speech tonight.
Right.
Have you ever been contacted by any people in the States, CIA, FBI, to undergo a brainwashing? Or, just to under hypnosis, like I do with people in
The National Enquirer has approached me,
No, that.
right? They wanted to take my head apart and use anything that they found for their exclusive publication. And I told them that, first of all, they'd find very little inside, and second of all, it would be like selling your gallbladder for $2.50.
Sure, if you get headaches or something, then
Right, not for their purpose.
recurring dreams.
So the Air Force hasn't been contacted or anybody officially?
No, nobody more recent to the best of my knowledge. This
I was just going to say, didn't you have the ripple?
Oh, stop. Stop right here.
Oh, yeah, you remember that.
Right, call for help.
No. Okay, I was just wondering about the actual investigation itself.
Okay. Everett Doolittle fellow in the sweater was a good-looking fellow with some hair on his head. He was instrumental in the investigation and reconstruction, so if you want me to, I can turn it over to Everett. What went on after the fact? I was of the fact Greg, the other deputy sheriff, came out and at the scene around at 2:19 a.m. and Everett followed up. So Everett, you take the chalk and
I don't know how much I can answer what you put out. Well, I received a call after Greg was sent out, and I received a call, and I called the sheriff. We went out to the scene, and that's when we made the measurements, and the glass was found, and took different pictures. My batteries were dead in my camera, so I used a multi-flash photography. Anybody photographer knows about multi-flash? You set up in a tripod, and I didn't use a multi-flash, I used a time lapse. I ran it on about, with headlights for about 3 to 5 minutes on a couple. So the batteries were dead when I got them. Now, I took pictures. I also, if you notice on it, I used a grid on some of it. Grid photography? Okay, for like on the car, for the damage, I have grids on some of the pictures, and the skid marks out there, I have a grid in it, so you guys could develop all the measurements to do with it. When we got back, we interviewed Val. We ran a tape for Val. And then we off the main machine. Everything he said when he called in was recorded. And so then, like one thing Val didn't give information on, but when Val said he checked his watch, I'll emphasize that Val's watch was what, 14 minutes off, was it? All right, so I went and checked the car, which was 14 minutes off. And now the main thing, everybody thinks that, well, maybe he said I'm wrong. See, when Val goes to work, Val calls in the correct time and he sets it. Now, so then we checked our log and he called in the correct time. Now, as he worked and he calls in and they log him down, he also has a log sheet and he logs stuff down, which the two correspond all the way. So we can verify that his watch and the clock were both set when he went to work. Because he calls in, standard procedure, sets his watch, matches, and he keeps a running log of the incidents during the night, which matches the logs of the office.
Is there any way of saying what was the latest time at which his watch was correct?
7 p.m. the night before.
So
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
1900 hours to 26.
Well,
But when he logs in, for instance,
when you
don't
called
check
in, when he calls in, when you're in Stephen, you have a call when he called in Stephen, 10-8 in Stephen, which he logs down, which is down at the office
And were those 2 times cross-checked? Let's say when you left Stephen, was it? And then called in saying, I'm leaving Stephen now.
No,
it's 1
I
a.m.
don't
or
know.
something
It
like
just said 10-8 Stephen at one point on the log, if
Oh,
I'm
I see.
correct. And I don't. You have to ask Val that. I don't know if that's when he's leaving Stephen or when he's in Stephen.
When I pulled into a town, see, Greg was off that night, so I had to cover Stephen. And when I got to Stephen, I wrote 10-8 Stephen on my log sheet, and I called in and let the dispatcher know where I am.
Was the time recorded?
I believe it was.
Recorded and logged. See, the operator, everything that goes over the air is recorded, and the operator runs a log.
And the operator be back at the central station?
Yes, he puts
and
Val
record-
10-8 Stephen.
and
Such
that's
as he
correct.
does.
So at the time of the 10-8 Stephen, it's still known that the clocks were correct.
Yes, because it matches what he wrote down from his instrument to what they wrote down from the clock at the office.
And it's on recording tape.
Yes.
All telephone and radio
And
call.
the time between that and this was what time?
No, I don't know. I don't have it here. This is when he was in Stephen. This wasn't the time, I don't think, when he left Stephen.
No.
This was what, 1 o'clock or?
Oh, clock.
Yeah, about
Okay,
around.
but it was
I spent about an hour
yeah.
in Stephen anyway.
It was a couple hours anyway before it was.
Have either you or Val been interviewed by some government agency? You know, like the armed
low
forces,
profile
or have you been contacted by
Well, okay.
any branch of the government?
Not that I'm aware of,
What
unless they're coming in plain clothes.
After
Okay. Then, all right, so then I checked it and we gathered up the watch and then the eyes were checked. All right, then at this point, I made measurements of the car. Now, I don't have them here. You know, I thought I had them in this folder, but I don't. But I took all the measurements of the car and the damage and measured everything off. And then I took the series of pictures we have here. All right. Also, Hendren, is that his name? All right, he sent me a magnet and some I did some tests for him too. To do with magnetism of the car, comparing it with another car. Yes, that's what he sent. And then I made measurements and we checked the magnet of the car, to see if there's any change in the car.
Right.
All right, beyond that, like the sheriff, they took the antennas, we're taken down to 3 amps. And they're examined down there and they said it wasn't heat that changed it because of the molecule change of the car, of the
Right.
all right. And the windows, according to the way I understand it, they were pushed in and like it was also sucked out. The damage wasn't a normal damage.
I mean, it was.
That's how it was explained by the guy before you. It was pushed in and it was also like it was sucked out too.
So that could be a shock wave, but that would not be a physical impact like it would.
I don't know, this isn't my field.
Yeah.
So on the rest of the damage, I don't know. I took a series of pictures, took as many pictures as you could, and made measurements, to gather the information up. And there isn't. Okay, one thing about on here, now Greg had an explanation for here. Okay, when Greg was here, Greg could see, yaw marks, light skid marks, right?
For the
From
800
here.
feet.
Now, if his car was died the minute it at this spot, right, it would leave those marks until
If the motor conked up.
yes.
Maybe just engine compression would do that.
Sure would.
Is
Those
this a
light,
power steering
they're
car?
called yaw. They're just, if you get down and look down, you can see. They're not, it's not a skid mark. But then at this point, the brakes were then stepped on, which fit the sequence of events here.
Now, if this is a power steering and power brake car,
Yes.
now that would mean that if the car was pointed directly and the engine went out, then it would keep going in that direction.
The steering would be virtually locked.
Yeah. Isn't that,
Very
I mean,
hard.
this
Yeah,
might
but
be.
if you just lock it and watch. They don't always go. They could,
Oh, I know.
It's.
No, I mean, what I'm getting at is that one of the questions was how does an unconscious guy keep the car in a straight line for 854 feet?
Well, actually, if you took a car and it died on the road, you'd be fighting to keep it straight line. You got to stop.
Also, it's pretty hard to put your brake through the lockup if it isn't really.
Yes, it would be. You would have to really put her down hard.
See, my question has 2 components there. Does the fact, if you assume that the engine died, does this allow, if by just pure chance and luck the car is going straight down the road, does this allow you to, my car's not power steering so I don't know, does this allow the car to stay in a virtually perfect straight line?
No, it don't.
Or does it just wander around?
No, it won't. It'll pull. My experience.
If the road is sloped, it'll pull sideways.
If the road is at an angle.
Yeah, but if your car dies,
The road's crowned.
if you're doing any speed at all, and it just dies on it, you'll have to hold the steering wheel. If you just fully let go of it, if it
Unless you have
Okay.
perfect adjustment in
Perfect,
the
yeah, but
peripheral.
the odds,
They don't have it.
especially with one of these vehicles that are on back roads and all over, it'd be
Yeah, yeah.
perfect at any time.
What is the condition of the road? I noticed there's some
Straight,
cracks.
it's a straight, good road.
But I mean, is it shaped for a good runoff of the
drainage?
rain or?
Most of them are, they
Sure
should
it
be.
has.
Yeah.
Because this is a flood area, we're in a high flood area out here.
Okay. Yeah. But then the brakes locked. Was there any indication?
Well, we're
that they-
assuming, no, that's just an assumption
No.
there. All we know is when he said here, all Val knows is we got skid marks, we got yaw marks, we got damage, and the vehicle will sit here on.
And he didn't know if he put the brakes on or not.
No, he doesn't. But again, like I said, Val's an experienced officer, and even if he wasn't totally knocked out and knocked half senseless, he still could try to fight with,
It's a reaction.
Yes, he could. He's an experienced officer. He's been, doing a lot of driving and stuff. out
Is your watch a electronic watch or a mechanical
He's
watch?
got the watch on right now.
Does-
And the one in the vehicle is an electric.
But it's a
What is
mechanism.
it?
It's a
Electrical?
mechanism.
Is
It's
it
a
digital
machine.
or is it
It's
a-
working on a spring.
Is it just a?
No,
1695
it's not
Time Range
digital.
Special.
You were wearing a seatbelt and all
working.
at the time, and so you
course,
didn't
it
have
is
any
another dimension of
bruises
time
or
scale,
anything like that.
There was a slight bruise on my
Okay.
forehead,
Yeah.
possibly
Steering
from the
wheel?
steering wheel.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Is there any chance?
His teeth.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I will tell about your teeth.
A week before the incident, I was to a dentist and I had full mouth x-rays in preparation for dental work. Well, a week later, I went back to the same dentist, starts poking around, working up a schedule of what he's going to do first. He says, holy smokes, your bridge work over here is broken loose. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, your bridge work at the gum line here is broken off. We're going to have to pull all your roots and repair all that stuff. So he took out the x-rays, and they were intact before the incident. Now, a week later, they're broken off with the gum
No
line.
damage, there's no swelling in the mouth, because no
You mean
bleeding.
you got cap teeth? Is that the idea?
Right. This business over here,
Oh,
they were,
cap.
it was
Okay.
a
what-
bridge.
And the root underneath the little bit of tooth they leave was broken. Is that the idea?
Yes,
Okay.
it's cracked.
Must have been a jar. Must have been a
And
jar.
there was no swelling right?
No swell. For the first day or two, I felt like I've been hit in the face with about a 200-pound pillow, because I thought it was sinuses, but they never did drain. They just went away. But the whole front of my face hurt. I thought there could be eyes or sinuses or anything.
Okay,
But my whole face
you
hurt.
had this cracking here, but there was no obvious cut or anything on the lip or anything like that. So if there were an impact or something like that, you would have had to have your mouth open at the time to drain into that. Was there any particular pain in the
No.
tooth here?
No pain at all.
On your snaps, do you have metal heads in the actual tooth? The cap is
No, I had the tooth was ground off like a T or like a V, and then the cap was cemented on.
no metal heads.
Right.
Now, Val, in my opinion, was in a mild shock, even when I talked to him at 5 o'clock, about 5:30 in the morning, took the tape. He wasn't normal, he was dazed, and a mild form of shock at that time. So, and you talk about other incidents, we hadn't had any for a long time, but I've been there, for just about 10 years, deputy, or a police officer deputy in the area. And back in '76, we had many calls of, lights, families seeing lights, and, seeing things.
That's around the time when I was mentioning about that family coming back from Detroit Lakes.
Well, I got, and seen and years ago, well, even now, I'll be honest with you, most people they'll tell you, but they don't want to be mentioned, they don't want anybody to know about it, and they're embarrassed about it. But we actually had to a point that a deputy in Hellock, he kept out late at night, kept seeing lights and kept following them, that he got so much harassment from the other police officers in the public that he quit and moved away. Because he was a night deputy out of Kitson County. And I've had entire families in Argyle, the next town 10 miles down, who would put it about in your area where this incident happened towards the northwest. Whole family was watching an object zipping across and then making sharp turns. But that back in '76, there was a lot of, and there was nothing until now.
Was it flat for that time then? Was it flat
A
for
UFO
about a
flat.
year or something like that?
No, just steady. It was just there. It was, it was kept low profile. A lot of police officers saw stuff that you'll never see documentation. And it's just.
Put it on record.
I do have about
When you
a
say
dozen reports around that
You
time.
say the things
One of those things,
Can you say,
I
you mean by that that
recall
there was
reading
just
something
such
about a
perception of time?
mutilation,
Or was it just that it took
near
you
the area.
By biking.
By biking,
Yeah.
that's down here somewhere.
I mean,
That's-
it
that's
wasn't sort of
through
even the time of someone was
From
slugging
Warren
in the face or
about
something like that.
15
It was
years
there,
ago.
it was here.
And how long ago
Did it
was
look
that?
larger? I mean,
75.
it's way down there, and you see this bright
He was
light.
kind of timing it.
No, is this where a physical object that moved up at a very high rate of speed?
The size was increased. I see what you mean.
So, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Was there any perception of an increase in size, or just
Nothing that the light was there, the light was here.
And what was your perception at the time? Did it just sort of fill everything that you could see? Or?
Yeah, I heard the sound of breaking glass.
Yeah.
The inside of my head and the inside of the car just lit up like I was inside of a.
Okay, you know
That's the last I recall.
when everything sort of lit up,
Okay,
was there
do you have
lightning
any
sort of
experience with ball of lightning with something like?
I know what you're talking about. You know, the ball lightning.
Yeah, ball lightning.
Okay. I've never heard of anything around that area. You know, this type of thing. Well, we've had all kinds of letters from people, and was this a ball of lightning? Was this what is it? Fires, Elmo fires.
See, almost.
Yeah. So no, I've never heard of anything ever getting hit by a ball of lightning out there.
I don't like the ball lightning explanation because ball lightning wouldn't necessarily be stopped by glass. It would be stopped by metal. But,
The thing is, a ball of lightning wouldn't hover out there either if you drove towards it.
it would be.
There was
very,
no
very
power
little
lines or nothing out there. You know, like
There's very, very little known
I
about
have
ball lightning, but
drawn
conceivably it could have.
right, not right. Okay, where at?
Just
Okay,
behind
this
the
is
tree
Guy's
line drawing, so
Yeah. Okay, but there. Yeah, but that's here. Now we're Val. That's not
this is
really.
where this is the tree line where you thought he
Power
saw
line's
it.
about beside the river, just down by the tree line.
Well, that's still close distance. This really is not too well perspective.
So how far away are the power lines down?
They run across the road?
Yeah.
They run right, well, here's 317. Now, you're talking about where I'm looking back. All right, now the question is, all right, there is one running along here, but where, in fact, he saw the light is going to be the question. And I don't think it was clear back to 317. I wouldn't think that was you.
North of 317.
The light, the light
Well,
was
just a mile north of 317.
Yeah.
So it'll be a mile.
You know, when you see a lightning flash, everything lights up.
Yeah, the light
But there's a
was
bluish
on the north of
tinge.
the river.
Nothing like that.
The light
Just
was seen
incandescent light.
north of the river.
Yeah, north of the,
For the
well, river runs across there. It's just a little,
Yeah.
is that the snake comes in there? No, what is it? Tamarack could be.
Snake.
Snake, yeah, the snake.
yeah.
Yeah. And the Red River runs to along that road. And
Red River makes a
it's running right along here, the Red River.
it's a switch back in there about where the bridge is.
That's like if you keep going along 5.
What were
you
you
go to
saying,
gravel.
Norm, about the ball lightning?
Yep.
Well, there's very, very little known about ball lightning, but ball lightning won't, to the extent that it's first of all, it would be ball lightning would be a very low mass object. It's probably an ionized gas. On the other hand, there have been reports of ball lightning going through non-conductors. The idea being that it's a sort of a configuration of electric fields which is causing some sort of ionization. But in that case, it would be able to pass through a non-conductor. There have been reports of it passing through glass and so on, whereas it wouldn't go through metal.
If the glass is an angle, it must be
I've heard of
straight on, it would go
ball
must
lightning
go
go through metal.
But if you hit an angle, it's glass.
Going very difficult for because I can see
There's a friend of mine who is a airline pilot, and a ball lightning rolled right down the center aisle of the aircraft.
Yeah, that I
It
feel.
went out through the tail, and an aircraft flying behind thought they blew up because they saw this light, but it was just ball lightning.
And I guess the entire shell back there is metal. There's not,
Yeah.
there's not, say, plastic way to get out.
Well, I don't think it's plastic. It might be.
Yes.
for
So
lighting.
the point is that ball lightning.
Some of these
There's very
aircraft are
little
made up of fiberglass.
Yeah, see, fiberglass is
structure.
a non-conductor, so it would.
It might have come from
electric
fiberglass.
fields would go straight through
I'm
that.
just assuming that the aircraft skin was aluminum, but maybe
Yeah.
it isn't.
Yeah, I think the electric idea comes into account when you're trying to reconcile with things like the car's electrical system and things like that. And the thing that came to mind is ball lightning. The trouble is the mechanism of ball lightning.
I don't like the ball lightning because there's not enough mass there to make a dent. I mean, and I don't. There were supposed to be breakages around the front headlight, I think. With ball lightning, we make that assumption, it's not going to have a mass that is large enough, hence momentum.
Keep it repeated.
That's right. Whereas a ball lightning would presumably have lots of energy in it. It could cause burns, it could cause heating and things like that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it would be shielded against by metal that would pass through a non-conductor.
If you got an ordinary light bulb and you put treble the voltage through it, it will implode. It will blow up.
Yeah.
Well, implode and blow up.
What
are
happens
two
if
different
the
terms.
ball lightning
Implode and blows
hits the electrical
blow up, blows out.
hits the electrical circuit of the car that the headlight's operating at? It hits that particular headlight. That headlight is going to.
Well, it depends on the. It depends just what kind of headlight you've got. If you've got a one that's low pressure,
These are steel beams.
these are
Stuff off the shelf like those.
But okay, no, they wouldn't have. If you put a tremendous amount of power through them, you'd heat the gas that's inside there. Now you might be able to. If you cracked it, then you'd probably have an implosion. I'm not sure just what happens when you do that.
But don't forget, it would be almost instantaneous.
In that case, you'd shatter the glass. You put an enormous amount of heat on it. You'd shatter the glass, and then I would imagine it would implode.
Yeah. And that would explain the breaks in the headlight.
I would like to know.
But not the ring of metal on the other
Okay,
side.
how many different officers in your area, like in your
I'm sorry, I thought there was
headquarters?
that.
How many is there
No doubt.
stations
There's not
there
this problem here.
in your town, like, or headquarters, like?
Okay, we have,
Yeah, there's no-
our county is quite large. We have what we call field deputies stationed in various towns. And there are 2 people in Warren,
So high heat.
Everett and another fellow. Greg's in Stephen, I'm in Oslo. We have an officer in Middle River, in Newfoundland, and Grigla. The county is about 92 miles, 94 miles long. So we have deputies scattered out, and the 2 work out of the home office.
Okay, what is the kind of attitude they're taking towards this incident? You know, are they taking it, you know, like something can't be explained and it's dropped, or do they feel that there was something, you know, like a spacecraft, or do they think that you're crazy, or, you know, what is the exact attitude? Would you be able to tell me, you know, what they...
Well, the sheriff, and I work with, and everybody in the county has been very supportive and understanding, because there have been, I would say that there isn't a family in the county that hasn't been either been touched with an occurrence or a sighting, or who've known friends or relatives who've seen things or have heard of things happening. And so the people have been very supportive and understanding. They haven't branded me as a raving lunatic or anything. What?
No real negative attitude towards
No. I get a little teasing now and then.
What do you personally think the object or whatever it was hit you?
I think I stumbled across something I wasn't supposed to see. That's my personal opinion.
What do you exactly mean?
I don't know.
So you don't think it's a spacecraft from outer space, or do you think maybe it could be it? Yeah.
I don't have enough data to make a decision on it, but a fellow called me from New York City. Okay, but he has a theory. I believe he's the East Coast investigator for the Center for Illinois. He called me shortly after. He wanted some answers, and I said, okay, I'll give you answers if you give me a reasonable theory or answer some of my questions. So I answered his questions for about 45 minutes, and I said, now you tell me, what in the world happened out there? So his theory is, and I want to emphasize, it's his theory, that I was on routine patrol in a car with instant communications. I'm a trained observer.